again, everybody. Welcome to the Backbone Podcast, where common sense still makes sense in a world that is sick and only getting sicker. And with the football, we've been kind of in a malaise of just first downs and touchdowns and terrible calls. But as the world just continues to get madder and madder, Trump and Greenland, I was about to say Green Bay, Trump and Greenland, Trump and Davos, Trump and this, Trump and Venezuela, Trump here, Trump there. And Minnesota. Minnesota is a disaster area, as many of these liberal cities and towns are becoming. But something shocking happened over the weekend with the horrible individual by the name of Don Lemon. The DOJ says it will pursue charges against Don Lemon and anti-ICE protesters in a St. Paul church invasion. The Department of Justice will pursue charges against anti-ICE agitators who invaded a Sunday church service in St. Paul, including the disgraced former CNN reporter Don Lemon, who feebly attempted to cloak his appearance and participation in this madness as an act of journalism, quote unquote. Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights Harmeet Dhillon told conservative podcaster Ben Johnson, whoever that is, that the department, quote, will pursue charges related to the incident in which families and children were terrorized by a screaming mob of vermin in the city's church. Lemon went into the facility and then began to, quote unquote, committing journalism as if it's a sort of shield that protects him, an embedded part of a criminal conspiracy. It isn't. Dhillon clarified during an appearance on other podcasts on Monday that this was all of it was planned out. All of it. Dhillon hinted at the possibility of the Department of Justice charging Lemon under the Enforcement Act of 1871. It's also known, ironically, as the Ku Klux Klan Act. Quote from Dhillon, whenever anyone conspires to violate the protected civil rights of American citizens, the Klan Act can be used to bring a conspiracy charge, end quote. The video that I'm going to show you here, posted by Lemon himself, what a fucking idiot, during and after the church takeover, shows he was very much part of the group under the flimsy guise of chronicling an event of journalism. Ahead of the group barging into this church, Lemon filmed a segment saying that he had done some, quote, reconnaissance on the activities, which included members of the Minnesota Black Lives Matter who were milling about, I should say, I can't even read my own handwriting, about in the parking lot a few feet away. This was all staged and coordinated. Now, why they went into this church, I have no idea. I have no idea. But Lemon is just he's an asshole. Just plain and simple. He's got such a punchable face. It's just beyond words. Outside of the church, of course, Lemon filmed parents and their children driven out of the church by the chaos and madness that was inside. And Lemon quipped, saying, quote, I just imagine it's uncomfortable and traumatic for people here. That's what protest is all about, he said. As the takeover continued, he shoved a microphone in the face of the church lead pastor, Jonathan Parnell, who called the protest, quote, shameful, and politely said that he wished the protesters would leave, including Lemon, who refused with a litany of anti-Trump talking points and anti-ICE talking points. Lemon continued to film inside the church, showing himself confronting parishioners on their way out the door, who he seemed intent on debating. Despite their polite indulgence, including one man articulately explaining why the protest was misguided, Lemon later lamented on camera that they, quote, didn't want to hear the truth. Dhillon publicly warned Lemon and has publicly stated that Lemon is on notice for his participation here. He should be immediately charged with anything and everything that's under the sun. Because this was ridiculous to go after women and children worshiping in church, praying to God, and then they have to deal with this shit coming at them. Who the fuck is protecting Christians on this planet? I mean, when is enough already? When do, and forget about Catholics and all these other crazy denominations, because we all know Catholicism is the leading way, but when are Christians going to gather and say, you know what? We're not going to use the crutch of, well, Jesus was polite and, we have to turn the other cheek and we have to love our enemy. Fuck that. This is a matter of life and death now. Because once they can storm a church and protest and yell in your face, the next step is they start beating you in a church. And the next step after that, we all know. If you continue to allow them to get away with this madness, they will take it a step further every single time. Now, Lemon, of course, after hearing that these charges may be coming after him, has furiously attempted to backpedal his previous statement and affinity with the group. That shows you what kind of coward he is. He's claiming that he had, quote, no affiliations with the disturbers. But hours later, speaking to I Have Had It podcast by leftist wench Jennifer Welch, Lemon took the extraordinary step of lashing out at the churchgoers, calling them entitled and accusing them of white supremacy. This is the trigger words now: racism, white supremacy, entitled. So even if you just go to fucking church and mind your own business, it doesn't matter to these people. They are out of their fucking minds and they have to be dealt with accordingly. Dhillon said on X that her division was investigating, quote, potential violations in the federal FACE, F-A-C-E Act for desecrating a house of worship and interfering with Christian worshipers. The Freedom of Access of Clinical Entrances Act, or FACE, is a 1994 law that prohibits interfering with people seeking reproductive health services or exercising religious freedom at a house of worship. President Trump seemed to express support for the notion of Lemon being imprisoned for violating this act. You throw one of these guys in jail, a lot of these, more than 50% of these people will go away. Because if they have to go to jail, and they sit in jail, like a lot of those January 6ers, all of a sudden this shit goes away. Now, Lemon is, of course, hiding out because he's a coward. And he's trying to hide under the guise of free press and journalism and all that other bullshit. This wasn't free press. This wasn't journalism. This was an attack on just helpless people. And these people now, who I would almost guarantee more than half of them in that church vote Democrat, they now need to look in the mirror and say, what have we done to our children and our futures? Because Minnesota as a state is no better than New York, California, Illinois, any of these other fucking liberal states that just, they're run by insane people. it must come to a head sooner or later. You must admit we were wrong. We voted for the wrong people. And we have to change direction for the sake of our children. Will these people listen? I don't know, because they use Christianity as a crutch. They're going to turn the other cheek. They're going to pray for them. Blah, 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 blah. These people don't want your prayers. They don't want you to turn the other cheek. They want your hearts on a platter. Not just yours, but your children's as well. They are playing for keeps. Don't be some little rabbit, some helpless little rabbit that looks cute and hops around for Jesus and then gets strung up and then clubbed to death and then skinned. Because that's what's going to happen. These motherfuckers are playing for keeps. And I'll show you in this video right here. This is the disturbance as they enter the church. There's got to be like 20 or 30 people that are doing this. This is about 2 minutes and 45 seconds.
Renee good! Renee good! Renee good! Renee good! Renee good! Don't shoot! 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 Where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where are your people? Why are you not at Whipple every day fighting for the humanity, standing for our people? Where are you? You drink your coffee, you got your jewelry, you have your nice clothes, but what do you do? What do you do to stand for your Somali and Latino communities? You have no comment. Exactly. Renee good. Renee good. Freedom. We have a duty to win. We must love and support one another. All these comfortable white people who are living lavish, comfortable lives while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're living real life, nice lives with your lattes, doing absolutely nothing for your Latino and Somali brothers and sisters. You come here to a man wearing a suit as a preacher. Did Jesus wear a suit? Did Jesus profit off the words? No, Jesus would die within a minute. You do not touch me. You touch me again and see what happens. Hey, you can't. You are a fake Christian. Why are you not standing with your Somali and Latino communities? Why do I not see you out at Whipple every day protesting this attack on humanity? Where are you? You're sinners. You're pretending to be Christians. But we know you live an easy life, don't you? A very easy life while people are starving. Shame. Out now. Out now. Living real comfortable while the people starve. Living real comfortable while children are dragged into concentration camps. You're all living real comfortable, aren't you? Shame on you. Do something. Stand with the Somalis. Stand with the Latinos. Quit ignoring this injustice. He wears a suit and tie and he hangs out with Christy Nome. How is that a Christian? You're supposed to accept all immigrants, are you not? Why are you not going down to Whipple and joining us in protest against this inhumanity? You claim to be a Christian. Act like one.
I forget the name of this douchebag that's on here, but he's been an agitator for a number of these protesters. And it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. And you see these white people, the church-going white people, running for their lives. Running for their lives. While you see these liberal, mostly white women and black women, of course, and this cuck here who's mentally disturbed, literally shouting people away and chasing them in the streets, women and children. This only backfires against the left, because those children will never forget this. Those children will always remember that it wasn't God-fearing people who did this. It was radical, communist, Bolshevik-style militias that did this to them, that scared them. And they will never vote for this. This is why Democrats are terrified of this whole thing. That's why they want more of these people from these communist countries and these underdeveloped countries to come in so they can try to brainwash them. Let me tell you something. Latins, Mexicans, Central Americans, they don't support this stuff. They don't want any of this. Now, do we want this country to turn into a brown taco fest? No. But these people know no better. They have no concept of what they're facing, what they're doing. And the question that I have for Don Lemon and for any of these other protesters, are you going to hit a mosque next? Is a mosque on the map? How about a synagogue? Is Don Lemon going to go into a synagogue and storm a rabbi and ask him a bunch of questions like this? Sorry, my bad.
What do you think of this? I mean, this is unacceptable. It's shameful. It's shameful to interrupt a public gathering of Christians in worship. So,
but there were folks who will.
I have to take care of my flock.
Okay, but listen, we live in there's a constitution in the First Amendment to freedom of speech and freedom to assemble and protest.
We're here to worship. We're here to worship Jesus because that's the hope of these cities. That's the hope of the world is Jesus Christ.
I want to be very respectful. Please don't push me though.
We're here to worship Jesus.
Yes.
That's why we're here.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why we're here. Okay. That's what we're about.
Don't you think Jesus would be understanding
we're about
and love these folks?
We're about spreading the love of Jesus.
But did you try to talk to them as a
no
Christian?
one is willing to talk.
Okay.
I have to take care of my church and my family, so I asked that you actually would also leave this building.
You don't want us to
unless you're here to worship. Unless you're here to worship.
I'm always worship. I'm a Christian.
We're here to worship.
Yeah.
We're here to worship. Okay.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. What do you think of this?
I mean, this is unacceptable. It's
a homosexual married to a man is a white man, by the way, is no Christian. But this is the world we're living in now. And you can continue to take this pastor's side of the coin and say, hey, listen, we just want to worship. Please leave us alone. Or you can take the other side. Jesus didn't fuck around with this stuff. Everybody thinks Jesus was this guy who just walked around and said to love each other. Read that Bible again. Look into his teachings. Look into the history of his life. He was a troublemaker. For the good side. He wouldn't have tolerated this. He would not have allowed this to happen or to go untouched. So as we said, Assistant Attorney General Harmeet Dhillon, whatever kind of name that is, announced that she will, quote, pursue charges related to this incident. We'll see what happens. Trump's in favor of it, but Donald Trump is as we'll do tomorrow with the whole Greenland thing. He's just off the rails. Homeboy is just crazy. But I want to know if Don Lemon is going to hit a mosque next or a synagogue. That's what I want to know. Are you going to go and ask an imam or a rabbi the same questions? Are you going to have a Black Lives Matter and anti-ICE protesters storming those houses of worship and disrupting it? Or is it just Christianity? Because Christianity is an easy target. There are no ramifications for attacking Christianity. There are ramifications for attacking Islam. Believe me, those guys would have been bloodied up. And there are professional and personal ramifications for attacking Judaism. Don Lemon's bank account would have been frozen. He would have never have been able to get a job in media again if he can anyway. His professional life and probably his personal life would have been all over. Christianity is the easy target. It's a soft target. It's the weak man target. And Don Lemon is not a man. He's just weak. He's weak vermin. And as Christians, especially as Catholics, we have to do better. And by doing better is starting to stand up and stop taking shit from these weak, feeble people. And that's my 2 cents. Thanks again for watching. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. Remember, my friends, you just saw it. Satan is always, always busy. But we must be men. We must have backbones, because masculinity and common sense are worth standing up for. And remember, if it ends in an ism, it's a mental disorder. We'll see you later.